Hello everyone, welcome to the command line crash course. And in today's video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know about command line as a beginner, why we really need command line, and also we're going to get to run some certain command line tasks together and see the usefulness and how powerful our command line can be for us. Alright, today we're going to be talking about command line, and if you don't know what command line is, basically command line is a text-based interface that allows you to use text to communicate with your system and interact with it, right? Instead of using graphical interface or using your mouse, you can basically use your command line to interact with your system and perform some certain tasks. Right, so let's look at why we might really need command line. So it's very important to have the basic understanding of how command line works because this allows you to interact with your computer without using your mouse or without using a graphical interface, which will really help you when you want to quickly perform a specific task or navigate through your folder. The command line allows you to navigate through your computer's files and folder, and also it lets you perform tasks quickly and efficiently, especially as a developer. For those of us that are familiar with GitHub and all of that, you would notice that when you want to push your code, when you want to do some certain tasks, you are really going to need your command line interface for that because that's the recommended interface where you get to communicate with your system very well. So let's continue. And many programming tools rely on this command line, right? So it's a foundational skill that I believe every developer should have. And this is what we are going to cover in this course. First, we're going to look at how to find our current directory that we are currently working on. After that, we're going to go ahead to look at how we can list all the files in a directory. And if you don't know what directory is just a particular place where you are currently working on your system, right? So after that, we're going to look at how we can also change directory, right? How we can clear the command line screen after we are done performing some certain tasks. After that, we're going to look at how we can create a folder or a file when we are working with command line. And the last but not the least is going to be how to delete a file or a folder. Now I have this quick table that shows you the command and their usefulness. So the first on my list is cd for Windows, right? And for Mac is pwd. And what this command does is they find your current working directory and basically they show the current location of paths you are currently on your system, right? So we also have list all files in a directory, which displays a list of files and folder on your current location. So for example, if you want to see all the files or folder that are currently inside that particular location that you are under, this is the command that you use to see all the files and folder that are inside that correct directory that you are on. And also we're going to look at how to change directory by using the command cd folder name. Don't worry if you don't understand what all these are, we are going to look at it together. So after that, we're going to look at how we can also clear our screen after we are done working on a command line, and also how to create a new folder or how to create a new file using our terminal only. And lastly, we're going to look at how to delete a file. So if you are using a Windows, I want you to go ahead to open your command line. You can click on your Windows icon and search for command line or CMD. Or another quick shortcut to do is to press Windows R, then type CMD, enter. It's going to open your command line for you. If you are on Mac, I want you to go ahead to open your terminal by using command space, search for terminal, then open your terminal. Without any further ado, I'm going to go into my desktop now to show you guys on the previous example we just discussed. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have my Finder opened and I have my terminal opened. So basically at this particular left hand side, you're going to be seeing the command I'm doing step by step. And right here, you're going to be seeing how I'm navigating through the terminal. So first things first is I want to go ahead to change my directory to where I created this command line folder. If you also want to follow along, you can create a folder, name it command line, and also follow what I'm doing, right? So I created this command line folder inside my user, Daveworld, document, then this is the folder here, right? So first thing first is I want to go ahead to change to this particular directory called command line. So how do I do that? First, I have to know where I'm currently at, and to do that, if you are using Windows, type dir, but I'm using Mac, so I'm going to type pwd, right? So pwd means paste working directory, so I'm going to click enter, right? So here you're going to see that I'm in user slash Daveworld. That's user slash Daveworld. So I still need to go to my document before I can see my command line, right? So first thing I want to do is I want to check all the folders or file structure that I have under this particular location that I'm in, which is Daveworld. And to do that, you remember you have to write ls if you're using Mac. If you're using Windows, you have to use dir, right? So here I'm going to type ls, right? So ls is just going to list all the folders and file that you have in that particular directory. So for this case, it's going to be the user slash Daveworld. So I'm going to click enter. So inside my user slash Daveworld, I have this application, download, music, public, and all of this, right? So if I go to my folder and I click on Daveworld, you see that I have the same thing here, right? You can see application, Anaconda project. So everything I have here is what is listed here currently, right? So the next thing I want to do now is to go to document, then command line, right? So how do I change my directory? If I go back to our slide, you can see that to change directory, right, use cd to change directory, right? So see, you can see cd here, folder name, cd folder name, right? So basically it's going to be cd documents, right? Because that's where the command line folder is. And also you can see here that they said use cd dot dot to go up one level, and I'm going to explain that also, right? So first thing first is to change to my document. So I'll say cd documents. Now, one cool part that you can do about command line is if you know the first four words that you want to change your file to, you can click on tab and it's going to auto-complete for you, right? So document, and then we just click enter, right? So currently now we are in documents, right? And we just need to go up one level more, which is what command line. So I'm going to say again cd command line, right? Enter, right? So now if I say list all the files that are folder that are inside command line, so you can see that it's showing that it's empty, right? Because we don't have anything created. So the next thing I'm going to show you now is how to create a folder and how to also create a file, right? So to create a folder, you're going to type the command mkdir, right? So mkdir means make directory space the name of the folder that you want to name, right? So for this instance, I'm going to name it tests, right? So mkdir test, and once I click enter, you will see that a folder is being created here called test, right? So if I want to navigate into test folder now, I can say cd space test, right? So click enter. So now you can see that I'm inside my words, my test folder inside command line, right? So if I want to go back to my command line directory, what I can do is I can do cd space dot dot, right? Remember I told you I was going to explain what dot dot was, like what this dot dot was, right? So you can see now that I'm currently in my command line document back, right? So what I can do now is I can say ls, then obviously I'm going to get what? Test. So if you want to create a new file, the command for that will be touch. So for example, if I want to create a readme.txt, I'll say readme .txt, right? So once I click enter, so you can see that automatically it's going to create a readme.txt file for me, right? So basically those are the basic command line that you need to do, right? If I also go to my next slide, you can see that we also have clear screen. So I'm going to go ahead to explain this clear screen for you now. We've looked at how to create a new folder and how to create a new file. Next, we're going to look at how to clear screen and also how to delete a file or a folder. But don't forget, I'm using a Mac OS operating system. So whatever command you say I'm using here, just make sure you use the equivalent one I displayed for you in the slide, right? So for example, instead of ls, you're going to type dir, which is to list the directory, right? So the next thing we're going to be looking at is how to delete a file, right? So how do I delete a file? If you want to delete a file, if you're using a Windows, type del, then the name of the file you want to delete. And if you're using a Mac, you type rm, then the name of the file you want to remove. But note that once you delete a file via your command line, it's going to delete permanently. So you have to be careful when you are running this command, right? So if I want to delete this readme.txt, for example, I can write rm readme. I just press tab to autocomplete. And once I click enter, you can see it's going to remove automatically, right? So these files are not recoverable again. It's deleted permanently from your system. So you have to be careful when you are using the delete command. And if I want to clear my screen, you have to just type clear to clear your screen. If you're using a Windows, you can type cls to clear screen. Enter. So once I click clear, it's going to basically clear all the commands I've written on that terminal. So now we've already looked at how to um, find your directory, how to paste the working directory that you're currently in. We've looked at how to list all the files and folder in a particular directory. I've also looked at how to change our directory cd, right? And also we've looked at how to clear screen, cls for Windows and clear for Mac. We've also looked at how to make directory and how to also make a file. And lastly, we've also looked at how to delete. So quickly, let's run through an overview of what I just explained. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Daveworld. So I'll say cd dot dot. So cd dot dot is going to take me a step back, right? And I can say cd, and next I can say cd again dot dot, then I'll click enter, right? So currently I'm in my root folder, right? So the root folder is the base folder of where all your files are located, right? So if I say, for example, pwd, you will see that I'm currently in my what, user slash Daveworld. And basically Daveworld is the name of my system, which contains all these files you are seeing here, like airdrop, documents, downloads, and all of that, right? Just to confirm, we can do ls. Ls means list. If you are using a Mac, if you are using a Windows, you go ahead to type dir, enter, right? So you can see here that I have applications, basically almost everything I have here, that's what is displaying here. And now don't forget, we are going to command line, and what we can do is, instead of us going one by one, we can do everything at once by writing cd, right, documents. So I'm going to press tab to autocomplete, and I'm going to command line, so COMM, right, and tab to autocomplete, and I'm going to click enter, right? So currently you can see that I'm my command line. To confirm, I can check the folder that we have here, and it must return test, right? So I'm just going to say ls if you are using Mac, if you are using Windows, sorry, dir. So ls, you can see we have tests. So let's go ahead to create a new file. How would I create a new file? Touch, right? So touch the name of the name of the file you want to create, right? So I'm going to say readme.txt. Click enter, right? So once I do that, it gets created here, right? So how do I list the files and folder that we have here? Ls, right? So we have this readme text, and we also have this test folder. Last thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead to clear my screen. So clear for Windows, cls, right? So I hope you guys got to understand what we did today. And basically, this is a command line tutorial for beginners. And with time, when you get to practice this very well, you are going to get familiar with it, and you see how easy and interesting using command line is. If you enjoy this basic video, please do well to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and also comment types of video that you want me to make. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.